Attaching a chain to stained glass. In this video, I'm going to cover a short tutorial on how to attach your chain to your hanging stained glass. It's pretty simple and there's only a few things you'll need, so let's get into it. You have a couple of options on what you use. You can use these jump rings. I have a link to them in the description below. They come in all different sizes, or you can actually opt to create your own. These are the two different size wires that I will use to create mine. This is for like heavier pieces, and this lighter wire is for lighter pieces. This piece has a pretty good weight to it. It's mirrored on the front and back, so I'm gonna actually go with the thicker 14 gauge wire for this piece. And as far as placement goes on this piece, I'm gonna hang them at up here, these two spots. It's a good hold here. It's a strong, sturdy hold, so I'm not worried about it giving over time. I could also put them here above the wings, but with the way that the eyes are sticking out, it would hit the chain, so I'm gonna go with up here at the top. I want to pause it here to add that it is best practice to attach your jump rings where there are solder lines, especially on pieces like this one that has a tinned border versus a lead cane or a hobby cane border. However, there are one or two exceptions to this rule. I will be covering those in a future video, but if you want to learn more now, you can visit the link to the full article on my blog below. Okay, back to the video. For making your own, you'll also need these three tools. I'll link them below in the description. First, you're going to cut off about the size of wire that you're going to need for your jump ring. You want to cut off a little bit longer than you'll think you'll need, because you're going to have to wrap it around those round nose pliers. Once you have your two pieces cut, you're just going to take them. I usually go all the way down to the base, but on these round nose pliers, they get thinner at the top and thicker at the bottom. So whatever size you want your jump rings to be, that's where you would place them on these. And then I like to use these, I guess they're needle nose pliers. They all come in a set in the link that I have below, but I like to use these to pull the wire tight. It just makes it perfectly round, especially with this 14 gauge because it is thicker. And then use your wire cutters here to snap it, and there you go. Now you have a strong and sturdy tinned copper jump ring. Okay, once you have both of the jump rings, you just need to choose what chain you're going to use. I actually decided to do something different with this piece. I'm going to use two different kinds of chains, just because I think it'll look cool. And I have this chain. I don't actually know how I'm going to cut it, so I'm not going to be able to attach it just yet. But just go along with me. This is my idea. This is what I'm thinking. I'm going to use this chain to attach it to my piece, and then I'll connect it to the bigger chain with a jump ring. And I'll probably make, well, I'm thinking here, I'm gonna make a jump ring just like the ones that I have. Okay, now that I've looked at that for forever and a day, I'm ready to cut my chain and attach it to my jump rings. Oh, and by the way, you're probably gonna need more than one wire cutter. I have a few. These are so used. And this chain is so much stronger than I remember it being. It's been a while since I've used it. Finally. I'm actually doing this piece different than I do all of my other pieces, because typically I just attach my jump rings and then I use jump rings, smaller jump rings, to attach whatever chain I'm going to use. So I wouldn't do all of this stuff that I'm doing right now. I would just attach my jump rings, and then we worry about the chain later using 2 more jump rings. But I'm glad that I'm doing this video using this piece so that I can show the multiple ways that it can be done. You can solder your jump ring straight to it and use other jump rings, or if you want to cut out the extra jump rings, just do it like this and attach your chain to your jump rings before you solder it to your piece. I guess the only issue that might arise with this method of doing it is that if you did ever want to replace your chain, like say the chain got rusted over time, or what have you, yeah, it would be more difficult to do that this way versus if you had 2 more jump rings attaching your chain, because then you could just snap off your jump rings and use 2 more jump rings to replace the chain. I almost always will position my piece in this way where wherever I'm attaching the jump ring is sticking off of the table. It's just easier to get your hand in there and get it flat against the surface. And like I just showed there, you always want to solder the opening of your jump ring to the piece. And for this step, I'm going to turn my Hakko soldering iron down to 360. We don't really need it any hotter than that. And of course, using my 60/40 solder. Using your needle nose pliers, you're just going to try and get a good grip on there and put some flux where you're going to solder both on your jump ring and on your stained glass piece. Hold it up there where you want to go and just lay your solder down. You're going to want to hold it there possibly a little longer than you think to get the solder to kind of like flow in there. And you're gonna use less solder than you think, probably. It honestly just takes a couple times for you to get it down, like how long to hold your soldering iron there. And it also too depends on your own preference in terms of what it looks like. I try to use as little bit of solder as possible. I don't like for it to be like a ton of solder right there. Do the same thing on the other side. And always, if your solder's not sticking like you think it should, add more flux. And then look here how long I'm holding that there. Just getting a good hold from the solder. And this is actually a bad idea, what I just did, not holding it with the needle nose. So many times I've done that, and then I melted the solder to where the jump ring just slid off. So it's always good practice to always, if you're soldering a jump ring, hold it with your needle nose pliers in place while you're doing that. And then just flip your piece over and do the exact same thing on the other side. And then if your piece is like this one and it has beaded edges, if you've messed some of that up at all, putting your jump rings on, this is when you can go in and just build up some of that bead. I think here I noticed that some of it just kind of wasn't that great to begin with, so I added some solder there. And there you have it. Our chain is attached. It's not going to go anywhere. And after this, you can wash it with some soap and water, but I like to just use this quick clean. It's flux and patina remover. I just spritz it really good on there, get it nice and soaked, and then rub it Just rub it. You can also just spray it directly on the piece if you want and rub. That way you make sure you get enough of the chemical on there to get the flux off. And there you have it. Our stained glass piece is ready to hang. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please consider subscribing. And as always, stay creative. No more flux here. And just like that, your chain is attached to your piece and it's ready to go. It's ready to be hung and adored like the beautiful work of art that it is.